All right, Coach, thanks for taking the time and joining us here. Now, before we get into ball, I want to talk about why we are doing this distantly. We've said this in every video, but we want to reiterate it. And the most important thing is health and safety and wellness. And thus, we are having to do this remotely. And I can't wait to meet you in person, but it's important we follow guidelines and leadership and try to end this thing and get to the back end of it so we can get to football on the field.
Absolutely. Our leadership here on campus has done a really good job, just providing us guidelines and how we need to do, to continue to stay up with what we need to do from a work standpoint, but to keep people healthy. And obviously want to encourage everybody to stay home and social distance. And that way, the sooner this can come in, the better we can get back to doing what we all want to do and love to do.
Now, you are the defensive ends coach here for the Cougs on Coach Dickert's defense. And when I hear defensive ends, I think you want to sack the quarterback. You're trying to disrupt the pocket. How much is it defensive ends, but also what Coug fans knew of as like a rush linebacker spot, whereas maybe sometimes you're working with guys who are also standing up, or is it just you working on the two outside guys with the hand down on the line?
I think from an outside point of view, it'll look different. Our hands will be down probably a lot more. With what we're going to ask those guys to do, the number one thing we look for in recruiting, and what we're going to ask RJ and BJ and Coase and the rest of the crew, Will Rogers, Willie Taylor, the rest of the group, is to obviously get to the quarterback. Our system's based upon when we're successful with this defense, we've got a disruptive D-line. And that's not just hitting the quarterback. And as a coach, I want to hit that guy, and I want to hit him really hard because there's an old saying, the backup quarterback's a backup for a reason. But also to stop the run. At our previous school, we were really able to show the kids through a lot of hard work and then just the results on the field that when you stop the run, you give yourself more opportunities to get to the quarterback. You can really go tee off on people. And so you're going to see those guys hands down. You'll still see them drop every now and do some different things, but we really want to emphasize some explosive athletes that get to the quarterback that can be disruptive, because when that guy's disrupted, that quarterback, then a lot of good things happens. He throws the ball out of rhythm. He throws it to people on our team. He throws it up in the air wildly. A lot of good things happen when he's not comfortable.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear about the defensive end position as one where you'll emphasize stopping the run. Usually you think about like clogging the middle or a defensive end maybe just trying to get around the tackle to get deep into the pocket, but you're trying to force third and long is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we really want to get to second and long. We want to get to third and long. We talk about getting behind the sticks a lot. Offenses want to stay on schedule. They want to get into second medium. They want to get into third and short. Those are hard in D&Ds for defenses to stop. We want to go the opposite way. We want to be disruptive and get into second and long or second and extra long, third and extra long when there's only a couple things you can really do, and we're really going to tee off on those things. And so we're really going to we are in the process right now of training these guys to think about not just what they're supposed to do, but what the scenario is going to call for, looking for different ticks amongst an offense from backfield sets to the way people align that kind of give away what type of plays they're going to see. And stopping the run, it's 11 men that need to do it. It's not just the D-line or the backers, the safeties, the nickel, whatever, the corners, but it certainly starts with the D-line. And if you could stop the run, you look at any great defense, like the best defenses every year in college, the NFL, even high school, they stop the run first, because it just puts the offense behind the chains, and then that's when a lot of takeaways happen, the sacks happen, and it all kind of correlates together. And so that's our big goal right now. If we can stop the run, which again is outside thinking a little bit, but for us, when we stop the run, everything else becomes a little bit easier.
You were a tight end at North Dakota State, right?
Yep, I was a tight end. Yep.
How much do you draw from trying to block defensive ends in coaching defensive ends to get around tight ends or tackles?
That's a huge part, especially when I first got elevated from a graduate assistant at North Dakota State to a full-time coach. I moved from offense to defense, knew nothing about coaching defense and D-line play, knew nothing. And a real good mentor of mine, Scotty Hazelton, one of the first things he told me is, hey, just coach what you already knew was hard. And I had been a graduate assistant coaching the tight ends. I had helped coach the offensive line, so I had some experience, not just playing the tight end position, but coaching up front on offense. And so I just started coaching the things that I knew were hard for defensive linemen. and whether it was their feet, their hands, whatever it is, different things. And then as my knowledge base grew, as I learned from the players around me, and Coach Hazelton taught me a lot of things, really was able to expand. I still do that to this day. And I feel like that's given the guys I've been able to coach and be around an edge as far as not just from a technique standpoint, but from a scheme standpoint and understanding of like defensive coaches and players think a certain way. But guys, you got to realize the offensive guys sometimes think completely different and kind of understand as we're going into a game plan, hey, this is what they're thinking here. You can tell by the way they're calling plays and executing things, this is their mindset. So I feel like it's made me a little bit more well-rounded. I'm certain it was hard at first, not knowing anything about defense, but it's really helped me, especially as I've gotten older as a coach.
The audio cut out for a second. You said Scotty Hazelton's kind of one of your mentors. Is that right?
Yeah, Scotty, he's the defensive coordinator at Michigan State now. And I've worked with Scotty twice at North Dakota State and at Wyoming. And he was a guy that took me under his wing and taught me really, the base foundation and a lot of what I know about D-line play. And through working with other guys over the year, I've added to that. But Scotty's been a good friend and mentor to me that's helped me out a ton, personally as a coach and just overall in the profession.
As a former offensive player and now a defensive coach, and I've noticed on the staff and in general, that's not so wildly uncommon on college coaching staffs to have that kind of wide range of experience. Do you think it contributes to a more collaborative coaching staff, whereas you have perspective of multiple sides of the ball, one of them firsthand and now in years of coaching?
Yeah, I really think one of the bigger it helps in two pieces. Number one, in recruiting, because generally in recruiting, if you're on one side of the ball, you see that side and you don't always see and understand the other side in recruiting, and you pass your guys along and you get feedback. I think when you've had that ability to be on the other side, you might, in your brain, you kind of understand maybe what certain positions are looking for a little bit more, if that makes sense. And then I really believe the second piece is just when you're game planning. We can sit in a defensive room and, I could talk about things. And on the last staff I was at, there was two of us on defense that had coached on offense and defense. So we would kind of talk through things from that offensive perspective. As you're game planning, you can watch people and study them. And sometimes you see things that maybe a guy that's just been on defense doesn't necessarily pick up on. And I'm not saying we're just that much better than other people, but it does just give you a different perspective on things that I feel like helps me and help the coaches I've been around over the years.
Is it exciting to kind of step into the pack here on the staff with Coach Rolovich and Coach Dickert, with what you know of the Pac-12, and what you've gone from North Dakota State to the Mountain West and now into the Pac, and there's no higher level on the West Coast. And I would imagine as a coach, it's exciting also to say, hey, the Ducks won the Rose Bowl last year, and you're going to go up against them. And the Cougs almost had them in Eugene last year, Pacific Northwest rival, obviously the Apple Cup and the Huskies. I guess my question really is, what's it like now as an insider in the Pac and just getting started, having observed it to whatever degree you could before?
It's really exciting. We were talking earlier. I'm born and raised in Phoenix, so I grew up watching the Pac-12. So to now be able to coach it, and like you said, at the highest level competition is really exciting. About what year are we in? About 6 years ago, at Wyoming, we played here in Pullman. In 2015, I believe Falk was a quarterback then. So got a chance to be in Pullman. That stadium was loud. I remember driving through the tailgating. You could just see the passion and the energy and how important it is here. And so when the opportunity came up, it was a no-brainer. And we had played that 2018 team with Garner, and we lost a tough one in the fourth quarter of that team. So a pretty good idea of the type of kids here. It was exciting just to get here because I knew quite a bit. I've been recruiting the West Coast, Arizona, and San Diego. So there was quite a few guys when we got here to Pullman that I had recruited and I knew. And so there was already some bridges from a relationship standpoint that were already there. And again, to be in the Pac-12, obviously one of the best conferences, some great football teams here that we're excited to build on what's been done here in the past and take this program to a different level from a consistency standpoint year after year. Not going to be easy, and certainly got to find the right type of guys that are going to fit here in Pullman. They love to play football. They want to get a great, degree from a really meaningful institution, but also are going to appreciate the fan base, the alumni. This is a unique place in a really, really good way, and we're really excited to tap into that.
Well, I'm so fired up. I keep staring at your background, thinking about how you must be just chomping at the bit, ready to get onto the field, practice there in Martin Stadium, Rogers Field on the other side of the complex there, and get rolling.
Man, I can't.
Full.
I can't. Like, we're coaches. Like, to me, the best guys, and I like to include myself in that. Like, we want to be around players. We want to develop guys. We love those daily interactions. Being in at 6 a.m. in a staff meeting or in a defensive meeting, watching film, grinding away. Like, this is what we do. And don't get me wrong, this has been unbelievable for me personally. I've got 3 kids, 7, 5, and about a 3-month-old. So to spend more time with them has been fantastic. But I really miss the players and those daily interactions, the grind, the process. You know, I've been fortunate to be a part of some really good teams in my career, a couple of national championships teams, and it's the process that's really fun. The end result is great, but it's the process and it's the foundation and the day-by-day work that you go through every day. That's why I love this sport and I love being around young men. So, you know, we're doing everything we can right now, Zoom meetings with them and trying to spend and reach out to them as much as we can, engage them. Obviously, and I think they're doing a really good job being hungry and working hard and trying to sharpen their skill set in what they do right now in the circumstances we're given. But I can tell you, we had a team meeting the other night, and everybody's chomping at the bit, ready to get back. I think we got a pretty hungry football team that I think they really care about each other, which is really exciting as a coach because we can go a long, long way with a group of men that really appreciate, love, and care about each other.
Thank you, Coach. Be safe, be well. Really, really, this was fun. It was fun to meet you, and I can't wait to you know, Zoom's great, but I can't wait to actually get a chance to shake your hand and meet you, or maybe not shake your hand. Maybe that's out now.
Hopefully by that point we can start shaking hands and go back to normal again. I can't wait. Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.